Alright, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Thrilling 30 Scoop with Holepunch and Caliburst. And yeah, he's a pretty neat figure. Obviously, recently, over the past few years, we've been getting our new updated versions of our Decepticon Double Target Masters. But yeah, we haven't really seen hide nor hair of the Autobot Double Target Masters, aside from that one time in Thrilling 30 where we had this sort of anomaly of getting a new generation's version of Scoop. And yeah, he's an okay figure. He's pretty fun, all things considered. But yeah, it'd be cool to get a new version of Scoop, and it would definitely be cool to get new versions of Landfill and Quick Mix as well. But for now, he's a pretty decent figure to stand in as a version of that character. Now, yeah, the Target Masters is Holepunch and Caliburst. Obviously, Caliburst was not this character's original name. Originally, it was Tracer in the G1, like toy line. But I was gonna say I was assuming that they couldn't use Tracer because of like Overwatch, but I actually think that this toy predates Overwatch by a couple of years. So I don't know. It might have still been because of that by like the development of like when they get the trademarks and stuff like that. But I'm not sure. Either way, they called him Caliburst because they didn't have the trademark for Tracer at the time. But yeah, he obviously turns into a little. What do they call these construction vehicles? Is this a front end loader? It's whatever Scrapper turns into. Bulldozer? No, I guess that's more like Bone Crusher. Yeah, I think he's a front end loader. I don't know construction vehicles all that well. And yeah, it's a decent mode. He rolls okay. Obviously, like in terms of scale and stuff like that, he's got some ladders sculpted on him, which suggests he's quite a bit bigger than he is compared to other like Generations figures. But yeah, whatever. And yeah, in terms of articulation for this, so you can fold this bit up and down, and you can fold the actual Scoop up and down. I find that it's a little bit weird in that, like, if you actually have it like sitting flat on the ground, it sits up like this rather than like, forward, where you'd have to have it kind of like that, which I think looks kind of ugly, or fold this hinge in halfway through the middle, which I think looks not quite right because clearly this is supposed to be like connected like that. So to have it just sitting in a normal resting position, it points up instead of forward, which I find a little bit strange, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Also, like, it's a bit annoying that this piece doesn't lock in, but it's also super weird that his head is just like his robot mode head is in there, so he's just like peeking through the windows, which is kind of funny, but definitely very strange. But other than that, it's a decent mode here. Now, in terms of these guys, obviously they're quite a bit different than our current double target masters, but basically how they work is they both will just like flip the gun section over. You kind of take the handle, which is in between their legs, and fold that over, and then take the arms and just fold them back and tab them together, and that's how their gun modes work on both of them. And they're okay gun modes. They're clearly just like a guy lying down, which is the case for a lot of the target masters, but at least they have that extra step of like having the arms fold up. And in terms of storage, you can, I guess if you want, peg them onto these sections back here. They can't point like straight because they would run into the whole canopy section. And the peg is really tight as well, so it's a little stupid looking, but they're guys on their own right. They can just walk around. Also, like, that tends to happen a lot because the pegs are pretty tight, and these bits are just friction pegged in, which I guess is kind of nice because if you want them to not look like guys who are just like holding some weird piece of tech between their legs, you can at least take that bit off. But in terms of their functionality as target masters, it's a little bit annoying, but whatever. In terms of comparisons in this mode, just for a standard one, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe. Obviously that scale doesn't really work there, just judging by the size of the ladders and the size of the doors here, but whatever. And then for another front-end loader comparison, here he is with Combiner Wars Scrapper, who's also, just canopy size and ladders alone too small to be scaling with Sideswipe, but at least he's a bit bigger. But you can see what I'm saying. Like, this is kind of how I'd expect this Scoop to sit in the front rather than upward like this, but whatever. But yeah, to get into transformation, he's got a few neat tricks going on. Basically, you want to take this entire back section, and we'll sort of untab here and then just fold these bits out at the knee. There's kind of two different joints here, and these will kind of like softly lock in at the knee, and then you can flip out the feet here from the bottom. Then you want to take this whole section with the waist, and it'll actually rotate up like this. Take the arms, they tab into the side here and also tab into what will be the chest piece. So you just want to fold them out on these armatures and then take this whole section and just rotate that up so his shoulders sit into place just like that. It doesn't really have like an actual locking spot, unfortunately, but you want to get it so that these bits are flat so that when you take the chest piece and fold it up, it kind of soft locks it in place, but not like super securely. And then inside his forearms here, you can flip out his hands, and then you can just play with the shoulder joints there to get the arms sitting how you like them. And then you basically take this whole section with the scoop and the canopy, and you fold it onto his back, and then fold up the actual canopy section like that, and then fold the whole scoop armature in half so that the scoop sits over the canopy. And there we have Scoop in his robot mode. And yeah, he's pretty decent looking. Obviously, he's a little bit like IDW inspired just in terms of the design sensibility, though I'm pretty sure that this figure came out before he showed up in the comics, but I can't totally remember. Maybe that's the reason that they did this guy in the first place, because like one of the comic book artists like drew him as a character in the comics. I can't totally remember which came first, the chicken or the egg, but I sort of thought that the figure came first and that's why they put him in the comics, but I can't totally remember. It would make more sense the other way around, but yeah. In terms of articulation, the head is on a ball joint, so it can rotate around. It can notionally look up a tiny bit, though just because of the sculpting back here, it can't really move up all that much. The shoulders are on ball joints and then also have this like hinge out to the side and then the separate ball joint where they connect. But then again, this whole thing kind of moves around, which is a bit annoying. So you can get his shoulders in some poses, but they are a little bit weird in terms of how they actually connect to the body. He's got a bicep swivel, about 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. The wrist can only bend in. He's got a waist swivel. Hips can go forward and back and out to the side. He's got a thigh swivel. He's got technically just a single jointed knee that only goes 90 degrees, but if you use that extra transformation joint, you can give him sort of like a full knee curl there, which is nice. And then the feet are just sculpted at a slight A stance. So, you know, fairly decent articulation, especially for the time. He's not missing a whole lot aside from like wrist swivels and ankle tilts, but still it works pretty well. And then in terms of Caliburst and Holepunch here, or Tracer and Holepunch, basically they just, you know, have their arms that can move, and that's pretty much it for both of them, which I guess is more than the current ones, but still not super amazing. They're kind of just like sculpted in these like slight poses here, but at least they look kind of decent candid there. But yeah, that's what the three of them look like together. In terms of comparisons in this mode, here they are with Kingdom Sideswipe, just so you can see how they look with an average size deluxe. Again, pretty average size there. I guess proportionally his head is a little bit small compared to like some modern figures, so like that would suggest that he scales down a little bit and should be bigger, but you know, mostly it works. Here he is again with Scrapper, just for sort of posterity's sake here. And then here he is for another double Target Master comparison. Here he is with Quake, and here are, you know, Holepunch and Tracer with Quake's guys here, so you can see how all of them look together. And yeah, at least they're pretty much the same size, even if they're designed a little bit differently. I still feel like that works generally. But yeah, that's what the two of them look like together. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about Scoop. He's a fun, decent figure. I guess I should probably actually show off what he looks like holding his guns, huh? Yeah, he's a fun, decent figure. He's like, you know, not incredible by today's standards, I would say. He's like a little bit light, but you know, and he definitely has that sort of like IDW aesthetic where like I sort of feel like the yellow is a little bit light and kitty, whereas I would have preferred they go with like a, you know, a more yellow to actually make him look a little bit more G1, but you know, it's fine. That's what the two of them look like in actually being held as weapons. And then I also forgot, you can also combine them. If you just open the arms on any of them, they both have a peg hole on the back of their little like peg assembly here. So you can, is that how this works? Or do you have to, I thought that's how that worked. Or maybe you have to flip it around like this. And no, this must be how it works. But that doesn't really seem like it lines up. Let's try it the other way. I completely forgot about this feature until just right now, so forgive me a little bit, but yeah, that doesn't really seem to work either. I don't totally remember how this works. Maybe you have to flip them around the other way, even though their heads would be facing up. I think that would be a little bit silly, but that seems to be the way that actually gives them clearance for this to work. But you can do that. I can't totally remember if that's accurate or not, but yeah, that's not a great combined weapon mode, because now you can really see the dude is just like hanging out on top there, but whatever. But either way, I don't know. They're fine target masters. They're a little bit, I don't know. I guess they're kind of on par with the new ones anyway, just because there's some things I like about them better and some things I like less about them, but they're fine. But yeah, decent figure overall. Definitely would be nice to get a new updated version of Scoop and the other Autobot double target masters, but for now he'll definitely suffice. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to him. I do want to mention that I'm going to be taking the next week off of reviews, so I'll be back for the Sunday after Christmas. I've just got a lot of stuff going on around the holidays, so I figured I'd give myself a little break here, especially because it's been a while since I've had anything really new to to review anyway. So hopefully by then I'll have some more stuff to talk about. But yeah, so I'll be skipping Thursday's video or Sunday's video, and then Tuesday and Thursday, and then I'll be back next Sunday. But yeah, without further ado, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And yeah, here we have Transformers Generations Thrilling 30 Scoop. If I can get him standing here. There we go.